Hey there, Eric O'Sullivan, Reverend Sully, the irreverent reverend of all things geeky, the anti-pope and guru of Xanadu, ordained on the internet. Welcome. The caveat, as always, please do not burn your hands holding on to my hot takes. If you do, well, that's on you, pal or gal, or anywhere in this grand spectrum of humanity where you identify and reside. That's right. Welcome to Reverend Sully's Sunday Sermon, where we get spiritual. What makes me in any place to give a Sunday sermon? I am an ordained minister on the 31st of March in 1998. I logged on to with my ex-girlfriend's AOL or CompuServe account or something like that, 10 minutes before April Fool's Day, keeping in line with my grandfather's great spirit of humor. It was his favorite day, but I was serious. I had a spiritual awakening. A couple of things fell into place for me around that time. I was always a seeker of information. I was an amateur theologian, and I felt a kind of calling, I guess. That's what we call it, I guess. Right? So I went to the Universal Life Church of Modesto, California, and I became an ordained minister online. And I got a certificate in the mail and something I could print out. And I've had that with me ever since. And it still abides, too. I've done 4 weddings, a few different naming ceremonies for infants. So basically a spiritual solution for all of us and my friends or people in my tribe or community that aren't traditionally religious yet pretty spiritual and know that spirituality has a lot to play in life. So that's where I became Reverend Sully, and that's Reverend Sully's origin story. Exactly, yeah. I mean, that's where this all comes from, and ever since. And then I started a blog in 2002 and ran that for about 17 years, and I closed that down for modern reasons. Yeah, I mean, if it's still out there in some ghostly digital form waiting to bite me in the ass with any off-colored or joke or ribald statement or any like slander I may have perpetuated. Yes, it is my glass a building for you to throw stones at or something. I don't know. Where am I going with this? I'm doing The Notebook Part 3. It's a great series. This is a notebook I wrote this back in 2011 when I was going through a very hard time, and emotionally and spiritually in life. I was just, I had a lot going on. And it was a time of change for me. And it was a time where I was at the peak of my brahmacharya. I entered a stage of brahmacharya in 2008. From 2008 to 2012, I took 4 years off of dating. I had just broken up with a long-term relationship. We were together for 4 years, and it took a toll on me. And I needed a break from that level of companionship and relationship. And it's called brahmacharya, and it means, a sacrifice, giving up, physical love in order to attain a higher spirituality. And I did that, and I literally grew out my hair. One of my best friends, Pete, he called me Disco Boromir. Boromir being a character. He's part of the Lord of the Rings, and so this was based on the Peter Jackson visualization. So I had like hair down to here and a beard, and I called it the Maurice Gibb look because I wanted to be one of the Bee Gees. Maurice. I love the Bee Gees. But let's get to it. I mean, okay, we left off, I believe, with aversion to slander or lead by example. So I'm just going to go to March the 1st, 2011. It's chapter 3, verse 30. And I like to draw little things like this winky. I also do a TCB. You're going to see more of TCB with the Thunderbolt and Crown coming up this year with the Elvis movie. Taking care of business, TCB. And I always throw a DIY underneath the Thunderbolt. Do it yourself. Yeah, so TCB, DIY. I have a yin and yang, and this little winky face. It's my sense of humor. And the chi, it's the Chinese and Japanese symbol for spiritual energy. It's a tattoo on my body. Seriously. Yes. Getting to know each other on the internet. Yes. And how are you doing today? I hope you're doing awesome. It's a Sunday. It's time to put on our Sunday bests. It's time to... This is why kids would have their baths on Saturday night, right? It's like Saturday night's huge in some places. It was like, I know in Canada, it's like we'd have our baths and it was a hockey night in Canada. And it was a big Saturday night, was a big night because Sunday you go to church and you don't have time in the morning to be bathing the children, back when running water was like a relatively new thing. Great cup of Sumatra. I usually don't dig dark roasts, but Dell's got this really good Sumatra right now. He suggested it. I accepted it. And it's really flavorful and good. You can find the button for Dell's Coffee in the top of my border on my homepage here at YouTube. But let's get to it. Up. I like to, and I put a little up logo, And this was years before I started using emoticons. I only started using emojis in my texts and tweets last year. I traditionally had a problem with it. Like, what's this kid shit? What's this cutesy shit? Why are you trying to bring down the value of our... gives a fuck. Have a laugh. Smile. You know what I mean? All right. And so, yeah, 3:30. We did leave off at lead by example. All right. So, chapter 330. I'm going to read it to you. Yes, this is what we've come here to do. It's Bhagavad-Gita. You can always count on me to stumble over the name of my most sacred text. I'm consistent. Thank you very much. And thank you for tuning in too. I advise a sense of spirituality in addition to your striving for mental health and resilience. It really, really helps. Here we go. And let's see. All right. Completely absorbed in the Atman. That's capital A, Atman. Without expectations and free from the fever of the ego. Fight your self-will, performing all actions for my sake. This is Krishna talking to Arjuna, the bowman that's in having a panic attack, literally on the day before the great battle of the Civil War. It'll last 18 days. They'll win, but it's a hollow victory because there's literally a scorched earth. And so completely absorbed in the Atman, without expectations and free from the fever of the ego. Fight your self-will, performing all actions for my sake. And I think the following verse too says something about Krishna will accept like a gift of water or a leaf of a salad. Just make all your actions an oblation to the Lord and directed towards the Lord. And remember, these are also suggestions and wisdom. So I have it in my mind. So when I'm doing something at work or even these YouTube videos, I'm literally serving the Lord who lives within you. If you believe in spirit, if you believe in a soul, do we have an individual soul or are we all sharing the same soul? These are the wonderful conversations of theology and spirituality. And if they matter to you, and if they bring joy to your life, and the Bhagavad-Gita is not about sin. Um, it's not about an angry God shaking its finger at you, telling you what to do. It's a rather it's a rather interesting God with a wry sense of humor, who, coming from a place of equanimity, he's not pissed and he's not happy. He's giving you suggestions. You can choose to do this, and you will benefit, or you can just keep on keeping on, and keep on the wheel of reincarnation, and that's all there is to it. And but yeah, up. So let's get up to this quote here. So yeah, it was 3:30. It's on March 1st, 2011, and I was like, up, as in man up, shut up, step up, get up and fight, or cook. In my case, going to work was very stressful. It still is. I'm a chef. There's a lot of things going on in a day of service. Will my delivery come in? Will my dishwasher show up? Will the guests like our cooking? Will my junior cook, learn from their experience and not burn the cream sauce? Will there be fresh vegetables? Will the online menu reflect what I actually have to offer today? And will we change it in time? There are just so many things. My workday is just filled with the usual things that can bring stress to a life. And but sometimes you need to trust your skill set and just do what you were intended to do. The day is the day. And if we make all of these actions a gift unto the Lord, with the Lord in mind, or the goddess, however you approach the divinity, but if you do all these actions with the Lord in mind, that is the right kind of karma to be performing. If you are performing tapas, you're performing everything I do, at work. It's just, I think of Krishna, and the rest is easy. I base that on actually a Frank Miller Batman The Dark Knight Returns quote. It's Jim Gordon, and he thinks of his wife. He says, I think of Sarah, and the rest is easy. And he gets to it. And but yeah, I think of the Lord, and the rest is easy. And so that's for up. And this next one is from the same, so I'm apparently on the 3rd chapter. While I'm going to work, it's 5 a.m. I'm on the bus. I'm dreading going into this toxic, what could be perceived as a toxic work environment. Or am I also contributing to that with my energy and my worry? There's that too. But this one is from chapter 3, verse 34. This is from the next day, March 2nd, 2011. 11 years ago. Next week. March is coming up very quickly. This is 34. Yeah. It's about our senses. It's why my mantra has so much impact for me personally, because I chose a really powerful verse. It's very succinct. There's a lot of information to unpack in the very few words that are in there. And it's meant to be like art. It's meant to, you can lose yourself in a Wyeth. You can lose yourself in Picasso, Cezanne, the list goes on and on. But it's about the senses. You have limited senses, or are we bound by our senses? Is everything, are you really you, or are you just this amalgamation of senses that I correlate between the eyes and the ears the nose, and my feel, you know, uh, and then translated into the mind and then the spirit. I mean, so let's get to the verse. It's 3:34. This is Krishna speaking to Arjuna. And remember, at all times that Sanjaya is privy to the entire conversation, has cosmic sight, and he's describing it to the blind regent on the day before the civil war. He's like, so the senses have been conditioned by attraction to the pleasant and aversion to the unpleasant. Do not be ruled by them. They are obstacles in your path. And also, this is where Buddha advised the middle path, in his road to enlightenment on his Tao. So Buddha was a Hindu. Buddha knew this inside and out. And so Buddhism has a lot to do with Hinduism without a mythology of deities and without avatara, without that metaphor of the Lord becoming animal, specifically us, the human animal. So, yeah, don't be conditioned. Our senses have been conditioned. Break the conditioning. He goes on to say that the three fundamental forces of the universe, sattva, rajas, and tamas, the three gunas that make up the physical world and how things work. You can transcend these. Once you're aware of these forces, you can then choose to transcend them. Once you respect them and how they move and how they impact, and you can be slightly above it. And that's the spirit we wish to curate. And once again, thank you for tuning in. I mean, I'm very grateful to you. Hopefully you're enjoying the gratitude lists. If you are, leave a comment. If you're enjoying the Sunday sermons, leave a comment or a question. If you're not, you'll leave a comment. You know what I mean? I'm just very happy to be interacting with people and kind of fulfilling this role as Reverend Sully as well with my Sunday sermon here. But my annotation is, the Lord asks us not to be fickle. Nature just is. A person can transcend this. I'm like Junior Rousseau here, transcending nature. The road to postmodernism. Yeah. Well, I mean, nature, a lot of the modern world is transcending nature. We really are. From choosing our gender or even being a non-binary to trying to put people on Mars. All of this, and in between, all of our modern fascinations of technology and batteries and transportation and ideological freedoms. I mean, everything is about transcending nature, because humans' nature is to be warlike. Humans' nature is to be covetous, and to be loving and resourceful. So there's a lot to human nature. So to transcend nature has a lot to do with this modern spirit, that we're trying to get over the past. We're trying to achieve something new, and we're trying to transcend nature, such as medical science, keeping people alive longer, keeping people alive from injuries that would have died. I just think of antibiotics. People probably died of the most simple infections, and this is only 100 years old. We're definitely at a sea change in humanity, and we're here for it. We're witnessing it. We're experiencing it all together. Isn't that wonderful? I think so. The next one is a little bit mouthy. It's me being mouthy. No, not the. This was a transcendental moment for me, because I've been an angry person all my life. If you tune in to my gratitude list, I freely admit I suffer from the chronic mopies, the chronic lonelies, and the chronic angries. I do. I do. And there's something about anger that's part of nature, and anger is it's involved with the three gunas. That's like really advanced knowledge. I mean, I don't want to bore you with this. I want to wrap this up, to be honest. We're going to read this quote. It's chapter 3, verses 36 through 40. And here's some conversation between Arjuna. Arjuna asks a question of Krishna. Arjuna, remember, is the Achilles of the Hindus, the ultimate warrior, and he's not selfish like Achilles. He's just that every warrior has a warrior. Every warrior culture seems to have the ultimate warrior in the history and in their tales, and Arjuna could be such as to an Achilles, the ultimate warrior, the best of the best. And Arjuna asks, "What is the force that binds us to selfish deeds, O Krishna? What power moves us, despite our desire to act for the good of all?" And Krishna replies, "It is selfish desire and anger arising from the gunas of rajas. These are the appetites and deeds which threaten a person in this life." And this is the one that struck me. Okay, this is here it comes. Here, just over that. All right, and this is about anger, and anger is a reaction, but anger having its role, I guess. Okay, just as fire is covered by smoke and a mirror is obscured by dust, just as the embryo rests deep within the womb, knowledge is hidden by selfish desire. Knowledge is hidden, O Kunteya, O Arjuna. Knowledge is hidden by this unquenchable fire for self-satisfaction, the inveterate enemy of the wise. Selfish desire is said to be found in the senses, mind, and intellect, misleading them and burying the understanding in delusion. And it was always and I also read it that like fire, anger is the smoke that surrounds the wisdom of knowledge, which is the fire. And that's where I read that in the other versions that I have. And I just wrote down simply, hidden behind anger is wisdom. I mean, there's a wisdom to anger. I mean, there's a lot to it. But I know about how anger has impacted my life, impacted the lives of the ones who love me, who have chosen to love me, who have chosen to leave me, and who chose to tolerate me as well. They probably know that, I'm a very angry. I am a very angry person, and how to get that peace in order to enjoy myself, and enjoy others, and enjoy what's around me. Well, a lot of that takes understanding, the sense objects that are coming back to me, and about pleasure and pain, sukha dukkha, about agama paino, about the disappearing and reappearing nature of these objects in front of us that give us the pleasure and pain that we're conditioned to. Break your conditioning. Are we obeying our senses? Are we slaves to our senses? Or can we transcend that nature? Yes. And I'm going to leave it there. This has been the Sunday sermon. Thank you so very much for tuning in today. Like and subscribe. I would love to be part of your YouTube day. I make daily content, or usually during the workday. I make soup videos. I'm a chef. I'm a professional line cook, so I got nutritious, delicious, and beautiful cooking hacks for you. It's called the What's Cooking playlist. Check it out at my homepage. I'm also an ordained minister, a spiritual guy, and an amateur theologian. We get spiritual here, and check out the Sunday sermon. And I also do gratitude lists. There's a playlist of the gratitude lists as well. If you're having a shitty day, you can break the momentum of that shitty day by reading a gratitude list that you wrote that very morning. And if you can count all the things that you're grateful for, those are called your blessings, and that has the power to stop the momentum of that bad day. Now you can choose to transcend that bad day. You can choose to keep having a bad day, but you give yourself a moment to breathe in, count your blessings, and be like, damn, I have 12 things to be grateful for. I mean, things are not that bad. Things can be worse. And that's called perspective. And all these things together will give you a better purpose. And that's why I lead the spiritual life and share this with you. I also do daily content, the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I read a page a day from an amazing comic book a coffee table comic book that's been surfing my coffee tables for 2 decades now. And it's a joy to be learning more and more about one of my beloved hobbies, and that's comic books. And we have a deep culture, and we love to talk about what we love the most, and that's these stories, this popular art, these publications, the ads, the characters, the adventures. I mean, it's great to be part of, and I thank you, YouTube subscriber. I just broke 200 subscribers, onward and upward. Please, like and subscribe and turn on the notifications. And I thank you once again. God bless. Good luck. Namaste. And thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers.